Hello there and welcome to the Otaku Bandito's Apple Computer Museum, where I talk about Apple computers. I'm your host, the Otaku Bandito. This year I have decided not to do a Christmas special, even though Christmas is over and the year has gone by. But I'm going to review an old Apple laptop computer as a special Christmas gift to you guys. The PowerBook 520c was not only the first PowerBook to come with a built-in trackpad, but it was also the first laptop computer ever made to come with a trackpad instead of a trackball. And it also had a color display instead of a monochrome display. At the time, many laptop computers were still using monochrome displays and 8-bit audio. But the PowerBook 520c is the first ever laptop to be considered desktop replaceable. However, this wasn't the first PowerBook to include a color display. The PowerBook 165c, which only came out a year before the PowerBook 520c, also had a color display. But I always think the PowerBook 500 series have made a bigger impact on the computer industry. The PowerBook 520c has a Motorola 68 LCO40, which is the low-cost version of the Motorola 68040 processor. The only difference between the Motorola 68 LCO40 and the full Motorola 68040 processor is that the full Motorola 68040 chip has an FPU, whereas the Motorola 68 LCO40 does not. Even though the PowerBook 520c originally came with a Motorola 68 LCO40 processor, it can be upgraded to use a 183 MHz PowerPC 603 chip, which is pretty cool if you ask me. And there were plans to make a PowerPC G3 upgrade for this laptop, but it was never produced. But the processor itself isn't the only thing to be upgraded on this laptop. I've heard that this model of the PowerBook 500 series can be upgraded to use an active matrix display. It's also interesting to note that this laptop was rated number 2 of the all-time best PowerBooks, but this is only for the PowerBook 540c. The PowerBook 520c isn't nearly as good as the PowerBook 540c, but it's still a good addition to the PowerBook family. On the back for ports, we have ADB, which was a standard for every Apple computer produced before 1998. The HDI 30 SCSI, also known as the Scuzzy port. A serial port for a printer and modem. And what I mean by that is that it's not the traditional serial port you would see on any PC. It's the proprietary Apple serial port. A microphone port, sound in, a security lock, and before it became an industry standard, we have an AAUI 15 Ethernet port. In fact, this may be the first ever laptop computer to include an Ethernet port. You're not going to find any USB ports or even HDMI ports on this computer because it's too old to have them. On the sides, we have a 1.44 megabytes floppy disk drive dubbed as the Superdrive. And it also has a thing where you can use 2 batteries or even install an FPU coprocessor. The FPU coprocessor module is pretty useful for all models of the PowerBook 500 series except for the PowerBook 520c. Because the PowerBook 520c has the full Motorola 68040 processor, which already has an FPU built in. Another interesting thing about the PowerBook 520c is that it was only sold in Japan. Amazing, isn't it? For those of you who are too young to even remember having a computer with a floppy disk drive, a floppy disk is a square-shaped disk that is usually used to store data. And it's also considered a magnetic storage media. You know, it looks something like this. Good old floppy disks. If you want to know how a typical floppy disk works, allow me to give you a demonstration. Alright, here's how it works. You put the disk into the computer, and it usually makes a sound whenever you put it in. A clicking sound, that is. Once you have put it in, you can access the files put onto the disk itself. There you go. There's the files. If you don't like this method, you can always go to Tabs, Special, and click Eject. There you go. Same results. The PowerBook 520c is hooked up and ready to go. In order to boot up this computer, you simply press on the power key. You know, the one that looks like this. The key with the arrow on it. Here we go. That good old boot up sound. Yep. It's a good old startup chime. Oh, an interesting fun fact. That startup sound was actually used in one of the Futurama episodes. I think it's called Fear of a Bot Planet. It's a pretty good episode. There's some references to Tetris, and there's even a Macintosh computer that appears in the courtroom. Pretty cool stuff, isn't it? If you haven't seen it yet, I definitely recommend you to go see it. Because it's a good episode. Alright, let's zoom it in so you can see what's going on. There we go. That's better. Alright, we're booted into the operating system itself. Just like every other Macintosh computer that uses a 6840 processor, it can only run up to macOS 8.1, but the one I have is running macOS 8.0. Let's test out the sound of this computer by using Simple Sound. The interesting thing about this particular PowerBook 520c that I have is that it came with some sounds that weren't originally on the computer. Well, this one was on the computer itself. Yeah. I probably assume that the owner just added them on the computer itself. Yeah, that's a sound. That sounds like a sound effect to a Super Nintendo game. Good old Simple Sound. Let's play some good old jigsaw puzzle. Yeah, as you can tell, we're going to do the easy puzzle. You know, the large one. Because this is just a quick demonstration. Alright. Think that goes there. There we go. I think that goes the nope. There we go. Yay! I have officially declared myself the master of puzzles. Now that I have given you a demonstration of what this laptop could do, let's power it down. Yeah. it shuts down pretty quick. See? Magic. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later.